Hey YouTube, it's Creative Mom. I just wanted to share my experience with this above ground pool that I've had for a while. And let me tell you something, it was difficult to get figured out as far as like the chemicals and just all the little stuff you gotta do to keep it clean. And where I live is really hot, so it could turn on you in a matter of days, okay? So the bottom line is, this is the things that I found that have actually helped me. I went to Leslie's pool store, got the water tested. They gave me a whole regimen of like this and that for stuff that I may need. I think, I don't want to say half of the stuff, but a few of the things that they sold me, I just have, just in case I need it, but I doubt I'll ever use it, which is the chlorine liquid stabilizer. Now, if you use your floaters and you put your chlorine tab in here and you leave it in here, you will not have an issue with keeping enough chlorine in your pool. Okay, I took mine out right now because I have too much chlorine, and let me tell you why. So a lot of times you'll see if your pool is cloudy or it looks dirty or it has some sort of issue, the main thing you need to do is check your filter. We have a sand filter. There's a backwash system that you have to do. I'd say a couple times a week or at least once a week you should backwash your filter. It's pretty easy. You turn it off, you put it on the backwash setting, then you let that run out until the cloudy water stops running out. When you see the water's clear, put it on the rinse for 30 seconds to a minute, and then put it back to filtration and then plug it in. That takes care of that issue. Now this vacuum I just got is Best Ways little pool vacuum, nothing fancy, just something cheap. I had another one, an Intex one that kind of went out on me, and I got this one recently. Now this one doesn't work if you have a dirty filter, so that's kind of my cue to basically backwash the filter every time I need to use a pool cleaner. Now I don't use this pool cleaner every day, but every other day, every 3 days for sure, depending on how often we use it. I made the mistake of not keeping my filter running 24/7, because if you leave your filter not running for at least 3 days or more, it's really difficult to, it takes some time to get it back to having it be clear. Okay, now you can see if there's some fine dirt at the end of my pool, which use a little handheld vacuum for it. Nothing fancy. I got this Intex one years ago. As you can see, it's been through some things. So it's got duct tape on it. And it's just rechargeable, $60 thing. Now, if you want one with a brush, then go for it. But I'm just using what I have because I don't want to spend no more money on this pool. But basically, to keep the chemicals balanced, what you need to do is, if you have a new pool and you're just getting it to filled up, I would wait. I would shock it, and I would wait until it gets cloudy before you start the citric acid. Now, citric acid, you do 4 pounds for a pool this size, and you're supposed to put a pound every 30 minutes, but let me tell you something, I put 2 pounds every 30 minutes because you could be here doing that forever, and I don't have time. So then you wait 4 hours. Once that's done, then you can see how the pool is. I suggest you do that, then shock your pool. You can probably wait like another day if you have time to shock it, and then after that I would see how your pool is actually looking. Now if it's still cloudy or if it's like looking like, oh, it needs some help, you probably need to put some clarifier in, pool clarifier in. Not a lot, just a little bit. They have these lines on the pool clarifier that I get, and you can just put enough clarifier into the line. Now that can work up to 3 days, and you can actually get in your pool 20 minutes after. I usually wait hours to let my kids in, because after you put the citric acid in and then you shock it, you have to wait 24 hours. And then if you need to put pool clarifier in, I'm like, at that point, the pool ain't ready, okay? And I don't care what they say, 20 minutes is not long enough for me to just be throwing chemicals and let my kids up in here. So that's my own personal preference. You do what you want, okay? But I think after I put my pool clarifier in recently, I was noticing, oh, it's still cloudy. The next day, I put some more in. The next day, it was cleared up. Now, what I'm learning about this fine debris is that it needs to be vacuumed every day. This big vacuum works for medium to like larger things like leaves and things that the smaller vacuum cannot pick up. Now, there's other things that you might not be able to figure out in between, and that's when you just get this pool net. Now, I have this tree that has bugs and powdery mold on it. When it gets windy, all that shit and debris, excuse my language, goes into my pool, which is a nightmare. So I have this skimmer. Now, the skimmer I've had for years, it's old. It never worked well, but I just jimmy rigged it and figured out how to make it work for my situation. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here. Normally the skimmer, well, first of all, I just clamped it on here because it was not stable with that stupid hook that it came with. And it's easy to adjust. Right now, the skimmer part actually looks like this, and this normally goes inside here. But it was not working with this thing. Now, I took it out. I put a pool skimmer net inside this basket. And bottom line, it's been working very, very well. It's getting all this debris, and as you can see, it's just pouring the water into there, and it's skimming all this nasty stuff that was on the top. So obviously this net that I have can only do so much. It does help, but when it comes to certain things, you see how fine and small those stuff is that the skimmer's catching. Obviously my net can't do it, but I use it, still, to do what I can to kind of help the situation. Who wants to be in here using this net? Like, nobody. Okay, so for the most part, we have a lot of windy days, so my pool is very hard to keep clean on a regular. I gotta be out here all day. Not all day, it feels like all day, but like every other day for sure. I'm out here doing something for a while, and right now, because I shocked my pool recently and I had my chlorine tabs in there, I basically I took them out, and I'll have it out for a couple days because I could smell the chlorine in the pool, which means you may have too much chlorine. For me, I'd rather have too much chlorine than not enough chlorine, because if it's not enough chlorine, it's not going to be clean. Okay, period. I'd rather smell chlorine like I'm at a public pool, personally. But right now, if you get too much chlorine, obviously, you gotta be careful with that. But you can also put more water in your pool. As you can see, mine's pretty much filled to the max at this point. So my pool is pretty clean. So that is all. Just wanted to share. Hopefully that helps.